Hello everyone, it's Brenda Quintana and I'm live from my Beehive studio this afternoon. If you are watching this on YouTube, I am not live, but I'm happy that you're watching this anyway, and please feel free to ask me questions below or leave a comment for me and I will try and get back to you in a timely manner. Today I'm going to be stamping some note cards for you using a new stamp set in our holiday catalog called the Flourish Filigree Stamp Set. And I love this stamp set because it has the cutest little Christmas greeting in it and a beautiful flourish or filigree background that you can use. This stamp set is not flashy like some of our other bundles in the catalog because it's just a standalone stamp set, but I love it because you could create a really nice Christmas card without too much work, and I love to have cards like that. I'm also going to be stamping a thank you card with the same stamp set, and there are a couple of tricks that I'm sure you'll pick up all along the way, so thank you so much for joining me. And I'm going to get started right away, and I'm going to turn the camera around and welcome to everyone who's joining me. So let me just turn this camera around. There's my view right now. We're a little bit overcast right now. It's kind of a gray sky, but it's still a nice warm day. I think we're going to get some remnants of Hurricane Florence tomorrow. Not that we're going to get hit. We're just going to get rain. So no need to worry. It's just rain. This is the stamp set I was talking about. It's called Flourish Filigree. It has this beautiful filigree background. And this is the greeting I was talking about. Happy Christmas wishes, which that greeting just makes me happy. And the other one I'm going to be using is sending thankful thoughts. Now, these two greetings would work well maybe on the inside of the card afterwards. I didn't actually stamp with them, but both of these images fit really nicely inside the pretty label punch. So I'll show you how I took this one and fancied it up a little bit, because compared to this one, it's really plain. So I'll show you how I made that one look a little nicer. So here are the cards that I made, and notice I used all kind of the same design. I like to do that sometimes because just by changing up the colors of a card, you can really change the feel of a card. So this is a very traditional Christmas card with red and green, but if you take it and you use different colors, you get a different feel to the card. So I'm going to show you how I created those. So I love note cards and envelopes because they're really inexpensive, and they already have the note cards cut and scored for you with matching envelopes, so it's really easy to create fast cards because part of the work is already done for you. These cards are slightly smaller than our traditional size, but the nice thing about them is that you can still mail them. So these cards are perfectly mailable. They make a great thank you card, but I thought also you could use them as Christmas cards. Maybe you don't have that much to say, and it's just a nice, easy, quick card that you can get out in the mail. One other thing I wanted to mention is that I do have a host code going right now, and when you use the host code, you can get one of my tutorials for free. I have a selection of tutorials, and they're free with a minimum $15 purchase, so it's not a lot that you have to order. You can order more, of course, but I will send you free with an order. Also, if you use this host code and you spend $50, actually it's $75 with me this month, you're going to get an embossing folder out of the holiday catalog from me for free. The particular embossing folder, that information is all available on my blog. So if you look in the description of this video, follow it through to my blog post, look at the bottom, and you will find out the information on using this host code. All right, let's stamp. So it's easiest to start off with doing the filigree first. So I'm going to use Shaded Spruce for this card. So I'm just going to open this up. And I'm laying this stamp face up because it's easier to ink up. The other thing I'm doing, you may have noticed, I've kind of got this stamp. You might, if you were getting this stamp, you might think to put it like this. Well, you could, definitely, but right here on the edge of our blocks, there's a little bit of distortion. And when you have distortion, sometimes it's hard to see exactly where you're stamping. So I prefer to mount this stamp so that there's a little bit more room around the edges, so I can see where my points are, so I can center it properly. The other thing I did with this stamp, since I'm going to be using it a lot, is I trimmed around it so there wasn't any excess rubber. So I really know where this stamp is going to hit when it comes down on my cardstock. Just a couple of tips. So now let me just ink this up. And I'm going to center it over the front of my card base. So I'm just looking to make sure side to side, top to bottom, and then I'm going to stamp it down. Just giving it a little bit of pressure. I'm wiggling it a little bit, but just a little bit from side to side. That just helps have all the pieces of the filigree attach itself, or the ink attach itself to the paper. I don't know if there's a better way to say that, but see how nicely that stamps with that rubber stamp. So now I can get rid of this and bring in my real red ink pad. And I'm going to need a scrap piece of thick Whisper White. And I'm going to be using the Happy Christmas Wishes stamp. Such a pretty, pretty stamp. So I'm going to just kind of put it over to the side so I have room for my other stamp, because I'm going to show you how to make that fall card, the fall thank you card as well. So then I can put my real red ink pad aside. And then I'm going to take the pretty label punch, open it up. Nice thing about our punches is that you can hover them in place before you punch them through. So I'm applying a little bit of a light pressure, not punching all the way through, but this actually holds my cardstock in place while I mess with it a little bit just to get it in the right spot, just to make sure there's like equal white around all of the lines here. So that is the centerpiece. And then we're going to need a little piece of gold glimmer paper to create a little banner behind that. I've cut this piece to 3.5 inches by 1/2 inch, and I'm going to grab my banner triple punch. This punch has slots for different widths, for 1 inch, 1.5, and 2 inch. This is a little bit too loose to fit in the 1 inch perfectly, but what we can do is turn this over, and I'm going to use the white side to guide me because it's a little easier to see on white than it is the glimmer. So I'm putting in the white side up, and I'm just sliding it down that 1 inch slot right here, and I'm holding it in place. And then I'm just going to finagle it, so I'm just cutting a little bit of it off. I'm not going all the way to the bottom, just cutting a little bit of it off. And let me see if I can get this just centered on here. So when I like the way that V looks, it looks centered, then I'm going to punch it through. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the other end. Just kind of come in, center it, and then punch it through. This ends up being, let me measure it. So this is about 3¼ inches long. And where are my samples? I just want to make sure that it's about the same size. So it might be just a little bit longer than my original one. If you want to, you can go back in and punch just a little bit more off, but I think this is going to be fine for my purpose. It's not going to be too big. So I'm going to keep it at 3¼ inches. Let me get rid of that. And so now all we really need to do is assemble it. So I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to take some Terran tape. This is really sticky and it holds well on glimmer paper. So I'm just going to run a line down the middle of that pretty label punch piece. Then I'm going to, oh, I've got green on my thumb. That means I have a green thumb, but I really don't want to have a green thumbprint on my project. It's one thing to have a green thumb, but it's another thing to have ink where you don't want it. So I'm just going to take this and add it to the banner piece. I want it centered. All right, then flip that over and grab some dimensionals. These are just little foam adhesive dots, and they just add to the back. I'm always on the lookout for cute Christmas greetings because sometimes there aren't cute Christmas greetings, and I love this particular one because it is cute. Someone told me about this trick with the paper piercing tool. Oops. And it just helps you remove the backings off of the dimensionals, because sometimes, like right now, my thumbnail is really short, so I kind of need to have a little bit of more leverage. So I'm just going to center this on the front like that. Doesn't that look good already? And then you can take some of these red rhinestones, bring my paper piercer back, and pick up a rhinestone and just add 2 little rhinestones to the side of the card. And then, all right, here's my bone folder. I have 3 bone folders and I lose them all the time. Sometimes there's no bone folders left in my holder. So I'm just going to fold this and use my bone folder to smooth down that fold. And there is the Christmas card, and it's just perfectly elegant and pretty. Don't you just love that? So now, how can I take this exact same design and turn it into a thank you card? So I'll show you how I did that. So this one's a little bit, not too much more complicated, but let me stamp it for you anyway. First, I need to clean off my stamp because we're going to be using different colors, and I don't like to muddy my ink pads. So let me just show you. I've got my Stampin' Scrub, and I took out the mat on the one side and I put my stamping chamois over here. So when I clean this, I take some Stampin' Mist, spray it on this side, clean off most of the ink on my Stampin' Scrub, then come over here and I get the residual off on the Stampin' Chamois. So now my stamp is like super clean. So I can take it and use it with a different color and it won't contaminate my ink pad. So we'll need another note card, and we're going to need some different colors of ink. You know, I've already told you I love this Mango Melody. It's such a pretty ink. It's kind of a cross between a yellow and an orange. And sometimes I have trouble with yellows and oranges, but this one I think is just the perfect balance between yellow and orange. So I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm hovering my stamp over my note card front, making sure it's centered, and then bring it down. So that creates the base. Now, the hard part, it's not really hard actually, just a little different. So originally The Pretty Label Punch came with a stamp set that was called Label Me Pretty. And so this stamp set is still available on the catalog. So I'm going to be using this stamp right here to create a backdrop for my words so it looks more like the Christmas stamp. So how I do that, bring in my scrap piece again, and I'm going to be using two colors to do that. First, I'm going to be using Highland Heather, and I'm going to ink this up, and let me just put this in a spot so I can punch it out. Highland Heather is first. Get rid of Highland Heather, and then Highland Heather and Gorgeous Grape are kind of in the same color group or whatever. They're just, Grape is just a little darker than Highland Heather. And now I'm going to take the Sending Thankful Thoughts and ink it up in Gorgeous Grape. And I also trimmed this stamp so I could see exactly where I was stamping. And I'm just hovering this within the frame of the stamp. And then I'm going to come down and stamp it like that. So that creates the stamp. Oh, I have to show you what it looks like without doing that. So just to give you an idea, let's see if I can get another scrap piece. I'm hoping this will fit on. So if I do this and stamp this right here, let's see how it looks when you don't add that extra little frame. So let's do that one first. Bring that in and make sure it's centered. So here it is. It's pretty. But now I'm going to take this one and center it in here. Making sure it's aligned. So now we can see the difference between adding that stamp set and not adding the stamp set. See how this one looks a little fancier, so to speak. So it really looks a lot nicer with the filigree in the background. So that's just kind of a comparison of the two. And then instead of using the, let me grab this banner, this one's a little longer. Instead of using gold, I'm going to use silver for the background on this one. And I've already banner punched both of those ends. And so now we can just add this tear and tape onto the back. I have no nails right now. It's not good. It's not the ideal crafting situation. I'm not one of those stampers with the pretty nails. I'm sorry, guys. And I'm just going to turn this over and add dimensionals. I don't even know how people with pretty nails do it. Like, I don't know. I'm just not a pretty nail girl. And I've got ink on my fingers. I'm the realistic stamper girl. No, I guess some of you probably have beautiful nails, and I envy you guys that do and are able to maintain it. I'm just not one of those people. So anyway, I'm going to turn this around and see how pretty that is with the silver in the background. And then I'm just going to center this on here again. Seriously, it doesn't take that long. I'm just kind of picky. I just look for like pieces of the pattern where it repeats itself, and that's how I use, how I align this little guy. And then instead of the red rhinestones, we couldn't use red rhinestones on here because that would just be, I don't know, it'd probably be a little bit garish. So I'm going to use the regular rhinestones and add them right here. And I think that adds just the perfect little complement to the front of the card. And then my bone folder is right where it should be. Then I can take it and just smooth down that fold. So there are the two cards, and I actually did The other one, I'm not going to stamp that one, but I did this one just to show you how you could reverse the purple and the Mango Melody. And here on the background, I use So Saffron instead of Mango Melody. You could stamp Mango Melody off once, but instead I use So Saffron as the frame on the background for that. So those are the cards, and I have 2 more projects for you this week that I'm sure you're going to love. Tomorrow, my Casing Tuesday card is using Flourish Filigree, and then later this week, I'm going to have a 3D project for you using Flourish Filigree as well. So I hope you'll come back and check out my blog post and have a look for those projects later on in this week. Now, if you like the project today and you want to order, make sure you use the host code up here. You can find all the supplies that I used to make these cards on my blog. So just look down below and click on the link that will take you directly to my blog. There's also a link that takes you directly to my Stampin' Up! Store. So those are the projects today. Thank you for all the hearts. You guys are so sweet. Let me just turn around my camera. There we go. That was a little stiff on my camera stand. Aw, thank you for all the hearts. I wish I've watched other people's Facebook Lives and I'm really bad at sending those little things out. So I need to figure out how to do those little heart sparkles. They just make me so happy. So anyway, tomorrow my Facebook Live is at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's on Tuesday morning. Same place on my business Facebook page, so you can always find me there. And then for the other tutorial, I probably will do just a regular video, and you will find that one on YouTube or on my blog. So I'm not sure I'm gonna do, I haven't decided. I have to look, I have 3 or 4 videos to film this week, so I have to decide which ones I'm going to do as Facebook Lives and which one I'm going to do as just regular YouTube videos. If I do them as a YouTube video, I will post them on my Facebook page too, so you can see them. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great week, and for those of you joining me tomorrow, I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.